So hey everybody, it's March Madness underway, and not only is basketball down to a Final Four, but we're down to a Final Four in the $25,000 Derby Wars head-to-head bracket challenge. And with me is one of our Final Four contestants, Georgie 14, Amy Taylor. Congrats, Amy.
Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate it.
So you made quite a run. We'll get into that in a second, but once again, in our head-to-head bracket challenge, we started with 64 entries, 64 players. You play a head-to-head game to advance. We went from 64 to 32 to a Sweet 16 the first weekend, and then last weekend we went from Sweet 16 down to the Elite Eight and the Final Four. And always a favorite, and everybody loves to win the March Madness bracket challenge on Derby Wars. We're down to a Final Four of War Emblem, that's Anthony Constantino, Easygoer Otis, Mark Boersma, yourself, Amy, Georgie 14, and Grey Wolf 357, Shalom Merwitz. So the Final Four picks up on Saturday. You get to play Shiloh, and what are you going to do to keep your amazing streak going here?
Stick to my game plan. I can't pay attention to how my opponent's doing and change how I play. It's not going to work for me. I've done it before, and if I am behind because somebody hits a big horse, I've noticed that if I do change my picks to try and catch a long shot, my original picks would have added up to end up beating who ended up winning.
Wow.
So I'm going to stick with that.
So do you not look at the leaderboard, or you just do your best to just pay no attention to it?
Unfortunately, I do pay attention to the leaderboard, especially where it's one-on-one. I mean, it's not hard. It's not hard. You don't have to scroll down, see who's doing what. So I just stick to my game plan. And you know what? If I get behind, I get behind. I don't chase. A lot of people will go and they want the 9-1s, the 7-1s. I pick winners. Whoever I think is going to win the race, I do not try and beat them. So a lot of people might think that I'm a quote-unquote chalky player. If it's a chalky race, what do you do?
You pick winners, absolutely. Well, your game plan is absolutely working. And so this amazing run. So in the bracket challenge, Amy you start with 2 entries. You're 7-1 with those 2 entries. A record in our head-to-head bracket challenge, getting 1 entry to the Final Four, 1 to the Elite Eight. And I just wanted to walk through some of this. Some of your scores. So your first entry, which is the one that's eliminated right now, but you started out with a win, beating Wheeler Dealer, $85 to $47. You beat UR 2020, Anthony Trezza, one of the top contest players in the country, $83 to $69. And then you beat TD Derby, $91 to $89.90, $1.10 win, virtue of a $17 winner that you had in the last race. So that was an amazing comeback. And then lost somewhat narrowly to one of our Final Four contestants here, Easygoer Otis, $90 to $70. So 3-1 on one ticket. Your second ticket, second entry that is alive, beat Mike Horse in round 1, $95 to $4. Beat Stephen Schaefer, $66 to $56. Beat Clover, $103 to $77, and got in the Final Four by besting Goof on the Roof, former Hollywood Park announcer Vic Stauffer, $75 to $43. So that must have been fun beating Vic and going to the Final Four.
I was intimidated. I will absolutely 100% admit that I was intimidated. I was like, oh my God, I am going against somebody that really, really knows about horse racing. I mean, this is what he did, He was the only person besides Anthony that intimidated me. But you know what? The way you look at it, I mean, these guys are really, really, really good players. And they can play those huge tournaments. Those big tournaments, forget it. I don't know why I even bother. I could not pick some of the horses that they pick. And I go back through the daily racing form, and I actually do need to contact them because my form does not match up to the horses that end up winning. It's wrong. They get the right ones. I get the wrong one.
Well, congratulations. Those are some great players that you're beating. All of them. There's some really good players in there, and to go 7-1 to head to head, you're obviously doing a lot of things right. So good luck and continued success in your final 4 games this weekend. And if you were able to win, and Easy Go or Otis were to win, then you would actually have a rematch and get to take them on again in the finals.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that
It
would
was
be
a good game.
great.
Very, very good game.
So you've got the Red Sox gear on, which is cool. You said you started handicapping. Was it up in Rock Park with your father?
Yeah, Rockingham Park, which is actually going to be closing, in Salem, New Hampshire. And yeah, he taught me the basics of what to look for, for a winner. And when I was younger, I will 100% admit I'm not going to go with the favorite. Why do I want a 2-to-1 shot? I want somebody that's actually going to pay decent odds. Well, after losing a lot of money, I learned my lesson. It's one of those things where, you know what, if you can't beat them, join them. And that's exactly what I've done. There's no sense in, losing, um, even if the horse goes off to 8-5. You've had this interview with how many people? And I think that the consensus is true. You know what? You might need that 8-5 winner to end up winning the contest. And if you look through a lot of my picks, you're going to see that I hit almost every single race. Not every single one, but pretty close to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, consistency is absolutely key, and you hit on it. I mean, in a head-to-head tournament, more so than a big tournament with 50 or 100 players, it's really about scoring every race, maybe keeping a little bit ahead of your opponent, and like you said, not letting a good horse pass by that's maybe 8-5, 2-1, what have you, that you can put some points on the board and keep moving your score, up the leaderboard.
Absolutely. And that actually is what helps me. Because if there is a player that doesn't like to play the favorites, and I get it, I totally 100% get it, those little scores that I get could end up passing up a horse that pays 10-1, and
Mhm.
now I'm way behind. But you figure a 10-1, okay, we're looking probably like $40 or give or take, whatever. And I might be way, way, way behind. Well, they're going to keep trying to beat me. They're not going to go, they're probably thinking, what the heck is she thinking, picking these horses? That's actually how I got through my second bracket. And it was a nail biter. That last race, I picked the horse that I thought was going to win. It wasn't, 5-1. It wasn't a 10-1. I think he went off like 3-1. So it was $1.10. I just needed to
Right.
thank goodness the horse paid enough. But I'm sure that who I played against is probably just shaking his head, saying, "What is she thinking?
Hmm.
How do you beat? Why pick somebody that's not going to win?" If that makes sense.
Yeah, right. I mean, the math is there. It's perfect. I mean, it got close with $1.10, but you had
Yeah.
enough to get there for the win, and that's really all that matters at the end of the day. So, so Amy, we see a lot of different contests on Derby Wars. How did you get started playing contests?
I got started playing contests. My father actually is the one who found DerbyWars, and it basically with me started off with Survivor. I thought it was such a cool game. I'm like, okay, all you have to do is get your horse to win place a show. How do you not do that? Easily done. um, so I started off with that, and then I'm looking at all these other games. I'm like, I wonder, and then I started progressing from there with the, playing in some of the smaller games and then going into the head to heads and the lockdowns. The lockdowns work out perfectly for me because this way here I don't have to take a cleaver and chop off my hand for changing my picks. And I'm infamous for doing that. Infamous for getting off a horse, um, to get on another one. And for me, especially, I mean, I don't sleep at night. It's a long story. I'm up with my son all night long, and the races will end up going off, and I'm still sleeping. So I'll wake up. I'm sorry. I go to bed at like 8 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, and there's been time. God, it just happened this week where I got into a lockdown. I was so tired that I actually fell asleep on the program. I woke up, race went off. I'm like, oh crap.
The
Well,
perils of playing contests while you're mixing family and other things. So, Amy, what advice would you give to somebody that's just starting out playing on Derby Wars?
just starting out on Derby Wars, I mean, just stick to your game plan. If you've been handicapping a certain way, don't change it because of how other people play. And that was my big thing. I would see, some of these horses that would come in, and I would get frustrated, and okay, now I have to try and pick one of these horses. Another thing that I learned is I thought my father was crazy for it. I honest to God did. He, after the race was over, he would actually go back and see why that horse won. And sometimes it's just clear as day, and you're like, oh my God, how did I miss that? And it sets you up actually for success in the future because now you know what to look for. Okay, we're not going to overlook that one again. Make a mental note of it. And, are you going to be perfect every time? Absolutely not. But you want to learn from your mistakes. So I think by going back in the program and looking at it and seeing it clear as day is awesome. I tried doing it last night, playing in the webcast. First race that went off, bomb hit. I went back and I looked at the program, and I looked at the program, and I looked at the program. And that's why I said the daily racing form, I get the wrong one because whatever that horse ended up having as far as what their performance was on paper was put to the next put to the wrong horse. So they had the advantage. They had the right daily racing form. I'm convinced.
Well, definitely, whatever's worked for you, keep it going. Amazing run, 7-1 in head-to-head games. So now you're in the final four, and you've already won a chunk of change. Got an entry to the next 100K game, $10,000 to the winner if you can win two more head-to-heads. So good luck on Saturday and Sunday, and good luck the rest of the way with the final four.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.